Say goodbye to tiles lying on the floor with this easy to build DIY tile rail. Ideal for use in the bathroom or for next to the swimming pool. This welcome addition will have your towels and accessories neatly stored. Come with me to the workshop. Let me show you just how easy it is to make this. So what you will need is 5 2.4 meter lengths of 22 by 44 millimeter PAR pine. This is for the frame and the shelf, as well as 3 19 millimeter dowel rods for the towel cross pieces. Now for the rear uprights, measure and mark 1200 millimeters with a pencil and a speed square. Now if you're using a circular saw to cut your timbers, it's important to adjust the blade to a depth slightly deeper than the thickness of the timber. This helps to achieve a clean cut without tear out, and it reduces strain on the saw, especially with hardwoods. Now this DeWalt cordless circular saw has a maximum cutting depth of 55 millimeters, and with our wood being at 22 millimeters, we're well within the cutting range. Repeat, mark, and cut all the pieces you need as per the cutting list. So that's all the pieces I need. 2 rear uprights at 1200 millimeters, 2 front uprights at 1000 millimeters, 2 centers at 750, the front and rear of the shelves at 600, and 8 pieces at 340. These are for the cross brace and the shelf slats. Next, I'm going to drill all the holes needed for the dowels on all the upright timbers. Now these dowel rods are 19 millimeters, so I'll use a 19 millimeter spade bit. Now the position of the holes does need to align. And instead of marking each timber one at a time, I'm going to stack them on top of each other 2 by 2, ensuring that the end is flush. I can now drill the first hole with a 15 to 20 millimeter spacing towards the end of the timber and drill carefully to avoid blowout as the drill bit exits the timber. Now with the first hole drilled, when I remove the top timber, you can see the spade bit has marked where to drill on the second timber. If I now stack another upright underneath the timber, again making sure it's square before drilling, I now have 2 uprights with the exact same placement of the holes. Continue this for all the uprights, and for the last timber, ensure you have an offcut underneath so you don't drill into your workbench. Now PAR timber is already quite smooth from the sawmill, but it does need a light sanding to clean the surface in preparation for any timber treatment. I'm sanding these using the DeWalt multi-tool with the sanding attachment and a 120 grit sanding pad. If you want the timbers baby bum smooth, follow up with 180 grit. And yes, it's the same battery as the circular saw and the drill. 1 battery for all the power tools in the DeWalt XR range. Now as PAR timber is not treated, I want to get the sealant inside the overlaps, as these overlaps are going to be weak points in terms of possible wood rot. So I'm going to seal all of these timbers with the fired earth gloss varnish, and yes, I've chosen the Emboya color. I love this stuff. Stain and varnish in one. Simply paint it on with a brush. Gloss varnish forms a strong outer layer and is probably one of the better sealers, especially for wet environments and possibly being left outdoors in the elements around the swimming pool. Now I'm purposefully not sealing the dowel rods with Emboya color. I just love their natural color. So these will get a coat of clear varnish. Same product without the tints. So I've got all the pieces measured, marked, cut, drilled, sanded, sealed and dried. But how do we assemble these to form our DIY towel rack? Now we're going to start by building the slatted shelf. Place the shelf front on the bench and position an offcut flat against the side before placing your first short length or side piece on the inside of the offcut. Drill your pilot hole and secure with the 4 by 50 millimeter decking screws. Then attach the second long side and do the same. Now these decking screws are a bronzy color, but what I really like is that they have a small head. These screws blend in very well. Now for soft wood like pine, ensure that the clutch setting is towards the lower end. This drill is so powerful you'd probably push the screw right through the timber if you're not careful. Now by now you should have a rectangle that looks like this. I've worked out that I need to leave a 68 millimeter gap between the slats and secure the second slat, repeating this all the way until you have the shelf completed. There we go, shelf's done, and by now you should have one of these left. That's for much later. Now to attach the legs, measure and mark 300 millimeters from the base of each leg. Remember, this hole is at the top. Drill your pilot hole and secure with the 4 by 40 millimeter decking screws. Attach all 4 legs in the same way, and the same for the middle uprights. Just remember, the middle uprights don't touch the ground, just make sure that they are flush with the shelf. Look at that, starting to take shape. Next would be to push our dowel rods through the holes we drilled earlier, and remember to put a bit of wood glue on the end before you put it in the other hole. This will give it a secure bond. Right, those in. Now we need to trim off the excess, and yes, you could use a hacksaw. However, the DeWalt multi-tool, simply swap out the attachment. I'm putting on a cutting head, and we can trim these off. Now try and work gently that you don't scratch your sealant. If you do, it is easy enough to touch up, as well as the cut ends of the dowel rods. Now remember that last piece of timber from earlier? We're going to attach this to the side here as a cross brace. Not only will it support the uprights, but it gives us space to put some cup hooks that we can hang things like swimming goggles or even a shower cap. That's it. A quick DIY build which, besides the drying time of the sealant, shouldn't take you longer than a couple of hours to complete. For those easy woodwork DIYs, your perfect tools and timber are available at Builders, either in-store or online at builders.co.za. For more videos like this, check out the blog on the website. It's due day for tidy bathrooms and poolside towels. Get to Builders, get it done.